Hello everyone, welcome to Sokra Academy. Dr. Shweta Ajay Dwivedi. I am a dentist by profession and today I will be teaching you all heredity and evolution. This chapter comes under class 10th lesson number 1 which is in part 2. Okay, so heredity and evolution. Now for the convenience I have divided this chapter into two parts, heredity and evolution. The reason is because this was a very big chapter and the video could have gotten a lot bigger. So first we are going to study about heredity in brief and then in the next video we will be studying about evolution. Now before we begin and see what is heredity, first let me tell you that all the living organisms have cell in their body. Now these cells can be nucleated. These cells in the body can be nucleated or enucleated. What is the meaning of nucleated? Suppose this is one of the cell. You have studied in 9th standard that every cell has a nucleus in it. Okay. Now there are some organisms, okay, which do have cell, but they do not have nucleus. So the cell which have nucleus are called nucleated cell. Now this structure here is about nucleated cell. The genetic material are only present in the cell which have nucleus in it. Now this cell does not have nucleus in it, so this genetic material will not be present inside this cell. What is a genetic material? This is a cell here. Inside there is a nucleus. Now what is a genome? Genome is everything that is made up of genetic material. Now what is present in this genome? There is a presence of chromosomes. This chromosome has a very important structure called as DNA. And along with DNA, it also has RNA. Now what is this chromosome? Chromosome has in a human body there is 23 pairs of chromosome. What is chromosome? It has a genetic material in the form of DNA and RNA. In human beings, how many pair of chromosome are present? 23 pairs of chromosome. Now when I tell you 23 pairs of chromosome, that means how many total chromosome are present in human body? 46 chromosome. So total number of chromosome in human body is 46, or you can say 23 pairs of chromosome. In this chromosome, the genetic material is present in the form of DNA and RNA. I know you must be confused about what is this DNA and RNA. We'll cover this in very much detail in the next slide. But before that, just remember that in the cell, there is nucleus. In the nucleus, there is a genome. In that genome, you have present of chromosome. In the chromosomes, you have these structures, nucleic acid sequences, which are DNA and RNA. Now what is genes? Genes contain instruction for making protein. Just remember this, that what are genes? The genes are like sequences which are helped to make protein. Okay. I will explain this in detail, but just remember this structure of a cell. Okay. Now before we go into detail of hereditary, let me tell you what hereditary actually means. Have you ever gone to a family function and some relative has come up to you and said, your hair looks like your mom, or your eyes look like your dad, or your personality is somewhat like your dad, but your physical appearance is more like your mom. Has this ever occurred to you? Mostly it has occurred to everyone. Now why does that happen? It is because of heredity. Heredity is the transmission of genetic characters from parent to offspring. Now, what does this sentence mean? Transmission of genetic characteristic. Suppose this is your mother, okay, and this is your father here. Your mother has brown eyes and your father has black eyes, but you get brown eyes. Now what does this mean? That means that you got that brown eyes from your mother. That means your genetic structure for the color of the eye has come from your mother. That is the meaning of hereditary. The transmission of genetic characters from parent to offspring. Offspring means your children. Okay. It is dependent upon the segregation and recombination of genes. Now, as I've told you before, genes are used to make protein and they are also used to transmit the genetic characters. Now, there are various combination of various gene takes place in your body, and according to that, the characteristic of your parent is transferred to you. Now, let me give you one example. If suppose your mother is not diabetic, she does not have diabetes in her family, but your father has diabetes in his family. Now, what are the chances of you getting diabetes? It is 50%. There's a 50% chance that you might get diabetes. That is the meaning of segregation and recombination of genes. That means it might happen that either you get the diabetes or you don't get the diabetes. How that will be decided? It will be decided when the genetic material from your mother and the genetic material from your father come and mix together. In that, it will be decided whether you're going to get diabetes or you're not going to get diabetes. Okay. Now, hereditary does not only mean physical appearance. Like I gave you example of brown eyes. That is physical appearance. But it does not necessarily mean that it has to be only physical appearance. It can be function or capacity derived from parent. Now, what does this mean? Function or capacity. It might happen that this is one of the examples which is not included in your book, but I'm covering it for the greater knowledge, that it might happen that your mother is very sensitive to allergy. Like you have pollen grains outside, in the environment, there are a lot of pollen grains. Now, a lot of people are allergic to this pollen grain. It might happen that your mother is very allergic to pollen grain. That means as soon as she steps out of the house, she starts sneezing. And then she have rashes in her body, and then she has difficulty in breathing. Okay. But that does not happen with your father. Now, you as a child have not got this characteristic. That means you are not allergic to pollen grain. What does that mean? That your immune cells, that immunity is same like that of father. That means the function or the capacity that your father has, you have got it. Okay. So hereditary is not only physical appearance, like how you look, how you smile, what is your stature, or what is your gait, or what is, how you look. Okay, this comes from parents. But other than that, how your body functions, there are a lot of genetic diseases. If your parents have them, then you also get them. Okay. It is more influential because we have no control on what we inherit. Now, this is very important line. You can decide if your body becomes fat or it becomes thin, but you cannot decide how your eyes are going to look, if you're going to have enough hair or you're going to become bald easily. You're not going to decide all of that. So hereditary, you cannot decide heredity. Okay. Okay. So here is the same thing that I was telling you about, the heredity and the meaning and the definition of heredity. Now you can see here he is the father and she is the mother. Now look at the child. The child has got so many characteristics of father. First, the color. The child has got the same color like her father. Look at the nose also. The nose is also same. Look at the structure of the lips. Lips also she has got same like her father. Only thing that she has got from her mother is good hairs. But again, the color of the hair she has got from her father. So this is how the transmission of genetic characteristic takes place. Even the cognitive style or cognitive skill or the intelligence can come from your parent. Now we have to see what genetics is. Now what is genetics? Genetics is the study of heredity. When you study the heredity, that branch of studying the heredity is called as genetics. What is genetics? Genetics is the study of heredity or the passing of trait. Trait is again the combination of the gene from parent to the offspring. So when you study hereditary, that branch of studying heredity is called as genetics. Okay. Now, whenever you will hear about genetic, you will always hear about this great person, Mendel. His entire name was Gregor Mendel. He is also known as the father of genetics. You have to remember this. The father of genetics is Gregor Mendel. He was a brilliant man, like really brilliant man. What he did, he was once, sitting in his room and he was trying to observe the plant of pea plant. Okay, he was observing the pea plant, and while he was observing the pea plant, he came to know that when I do the agriculture for one time for pea plant, the some pea plant seeds are small, some are very big, some of them have a purple flower, some of them have different color white flower. So he started wondering that why is it like this, why all the plant cannot have the same shape of seed, same color of flower. Then he started doing a lot of experimentation. He started taking plants which are smaller in height, which have small size of peas. Then he started taking plants which have higher, which is the plant which height is more bigger and the seeds are more bigger. And he started taking both the plants together, and then he started studying both of them, and he found out something. He said that there is something that is transmitted from this small parent, from this small plant to another plant. That is why that plant is also having smaller seed. So he said he did not knew that there is something called gene, or there is a sequence which is transmitted from parent to child. He just knew that something is being transmitted, but what it was later discovered by many scientists. But he laid the foundation of genetics. He studied so many plants. He did cross pollination also. First he did self pollination. What is self pollination? Plants carry both male and female reproductive part. Now, pea plant, okay, the pea plant is having both male and female reproductive parts, and he is putting the the pollen grains of male into the female, and he's carrying out the pollination. Okay, and the plants are growing. Then he did cross pollination also. In cross pollination, what he did, suppose here is a plant, A plant, and here there is a plant, B plant. Both the plant have different reproductive parts. So he took pollen grain from this A and he sent it to B, and he took the pollen grains from B and sent it to A, and then he studied cross pollination also. And he found out, he laid down amazing data. His work was undiscovered for 50 to 60 years, and after that there were two another scientists who found out his work, and they understood that this man was genius, and after that he was given the name that he is the father of genetics. Okay, so as I have told you before, that every cell has nucleus. In that nucleus, there are a lot of chromosomes. In that chromosome, you have DNA, and the sequence of DNA is called as gene. Okay, now let us study in detail about DNA. DNA is also known as deoxyribonucleic acid. What is DNA's full form? It is known as deoxyribonucleic acid. Now this DNA is a double-stranded structure. What is double-stranded? Suppose this is one strand of DNA and this is another strand of DNA. When we put them together, now in this diagram you can see it is separated. One strand is here, another strand is here. Okay, but usually this is separated. Both this part and this part is separated, but usually both the strands of the DNA are coiled together. This is how they are usually present. This is the way the DNA is usually present. But here you can see it is separated. Okay. So what is DNA? It is deoxyribonucleic acid. It is a genetic material which is present in chromosome. Okay. It is double stranded. I've showed you how it is double stranded. Here it is separated in the diagram. Usually both the strand 1 and strand 2 are coiled together like this. Okay. Now this nucleotide DNA is also called as nucleotide, deoxyribonucleic acid, or you can call it also nucleotide. This nucleotide have lot of nucleic acid sequences. Okay, what are these nucleic acid sequences that are present? It is called as A for adenosine, T for thymine, C for cytosine, and G for guanine. Now you have to remember this very nicely, that the nucleic acid sequences that is present in DNA are adenine, it is thymine, it is cytosine, and it is guanine. Now why this is important to remember, I will tell you in the next slide. But for now you just have to remember that there is DNA, okay, which is a genetic material present in the chromosome. This DNA is called as deoxyribonucleic acid. It is double stranded, and the nucleic acid sequences that are present is adenine, A for adenine, T for thymine, C for cytosine, and G for guanine. Now what are these acids that are present, or the amino acids that are present here? This acid is responsible for the sequencing. Can you see A is always present with T? Can you see A is always present with T? Can you see C is always present with G? C is always present with G. So that means adenine will always combine with thymine, and cytosine will always combine with guanine. Now why this is important? Suppose this is one strand of DNA. Okay, and this is another strand of DNA. Both are trying to come together to each other, and they're trying to coil. Now how they are going to coil is, suppose here there is presence of A and here there is presence of C. So when the other strand of DNA is coming here, the strand of DNA which has T will only come and join here, and the strand of the DNA which have G will only come and join here. Now this specification is very important, because it is with the help of this specification that the genetic mistake does not happen in your body. Suppose in the place of T here, any other genetic material comes and combine, that will give you a very bad disorder. That disorder can be anything. Okay, like one example of this is sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia is a genetic disorder in which the blood cells are of different shape, and it is a severe anemia. Anemia is when the hemoglobin concentration in your body is very less. So we have to remember this, that the sequencing of the DNA is very important. Okay, now what are the four nucleic acid present here is adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine in the DNA. Okay, now let us see the next thing. Okay, now we'll see about the RNA, like we saw about the DNA. In RNA, we have to remember that RNA is always single stranded. Like how we saw DNA is double stranded, but RNA is always single stranded. Now see here, this is only one strand of RNA. How DNA has two strands, but RNA has only single strand. Okay. Now what are the nucleic acid which is present in RNA? It is adenine, it is guanine, it is cytosine, and it is uracil. Can you notice something? That in DNA also there was adenine, guanine, cytosine, but there was thymine. In place of thymine, here you have uracil. This is one of the most important difference of RNA. In DNA, you had adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine, but here in nucleic acid, you have adenine, guanine, cytosine. And what is the only difference? The only difference here is uracil. You can remember it like this. In both of them had adenine. Okay, both of them have adenine. Both of them have guanine. Both of them have cytosine. But DNA have thymine and RNA have uracil. This is very important. This is for DNA and this is for RNA. Okay. In the presence of thymine, there is a presence of uracil. This is the difference between the DNA and RNA. Okay. Now, here is also the same thing. In adenine combines with uracil here. Okay, and here guanine combines with cytosine. Okay, there how it was, there adenine combined with thymine and cytosine combined with guanine. Here it is adenine combines with uracil and cytosine combines with guanine. Okay. Okay, here see properly the difference is present here. Can you see this DNA here? How it is double stranded? Just look at it, how beautifully it is shown here. Can you see it? Yes, it is beautifully coiled. Can you see? It is little difficult to draw with the help of mouse, but I am trying. Can you see how beautifully this DNA is made? This DNA is double stranded. Now just look at this RNA. RNA is single stranded. Okay. Now just look at the bases. Here you have adenine, you have guanine, you have cytosine, you have thymine. Whereas in RNA you have adenine, you have guanine, you have cytosine and you have uracil. In the place of thymine there is a presence of uracil. And how do they pair together? Adenine always combines with thymine and cytosine combines with guanine. Here adenine will combine with uracil and cytosine will combine with guanine. This you have to remember very properly. Okay. Because this is the only way that the genetic mistake is not done while the new DNA are made, while the new RNA are made, while new proteins are made. This genetic sequencing is very important. Okay. Now we have to see the types of RNA. There are no types of DNA. There is only one DNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid. But what RNA has three types. What is RNA? RNA is ribonucleic acid. Why DNA is called dioxy? Because there are two strands of DNA. RNA has single strand of DNA. Therefore, we call it just ribonucleic acid. So what are the three types of RNA? First you have messenger RNA, then you have ribosomal RNA, and then you have transfer RNA. That is mRNA, mRNA. That is messenger RNA. What the name is messenger, so you all know that it will carry message. It will carry some form of message. What message it will carry, I will tell you. Then the next is RNA. RNA is ribosomal RNA. Now why it is called ribosomal RNA? Because it is present in ribosomes. Now this ribosome is present in cytoplasm. Now let me explain you. This is cell. Inside the cell you have nucleus. Other than nucleus, whatever this part is there, it is called as cytoplasm. In the cytoplasm, there is this structure called as ribosome. Okay, in this ribosome, the proteins are made. So you have to remember this ribosome. Okay, it is present outside the nucleus in the cytoplasm. So there is one type of RNA called as RNA. The other type of RNA is called as tRNA. tRNA is transfer. That means it is going to transfer something. That means mRNA is going to carry some message. Where this message is going to be carried? This message is going to be carried in ribosome. mRNA is going to go to RNA. And what this RNA, after that, the function comes for tRNA. tRNA is going to transfer something. But what is that something? Let us see in another slide. Okay, here there is a quick review we are going to take for what we just studied, that is nucleic acid. There are two types of nucleic acid, that is DNA and another is RNA. DNA is double standard, function is stores the genetic material, and RNA, it is single standard. What is the function of RNA? I just told you to transfer the genetic material, that is tRNA transfers, okay, information from the nucleus to cytoplasm. Information means message is being carried, that is done by mRNA. For protein synthesis, that is in the ribosome, the proteins are going to be synthesized, so rRNA. So there are these three types: messenger RNA, ribosomal RNA, and transfer RNA. Okay. Now, before we begin about how this uh, formation of protein take place, let me tell you what is central dogma. Now, every human being or every living organism has to make protein to survive. Okay, without protein, the body are not going to function. So, who is going to form this protein? This formation of protein is being done by DNA and RNA. Okay, so how do they do it? By three processes. First, the DNA is converted into RNA. What happens? This DNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid, is converted into RNA by the process of transcription. By the process of transcription. You know what transcript are? Suppose if you are going to say in South Korea to study, okay, and you do not understand South Korea, but the books are in Korean language only. So you will take a transcript, that is going to transfer that Korean language into English language, and then you're going to study. Similarly, here what happens? This DNA is transcribed, that is, it is converted into RNA, so that the ribosome can easily study this RNA, because ribosome cannot study DNA to make protein. That is why DNA transcript itself into RNA, and this RNA then is translated into protein. Okay, then what is happening? This RNA is getting translated into protein. What is this replication? If suppose one DNA is making another DNA, then it is called as replication. But if DNA is making RNA, that process is called as transcription. And when RNA is making protein, that process is called as translation. Okay, now let us see in detail about the process of transcription. What is transcription? Transcription is a process of creating an equivalent RNA copy of sequence of DNA. That means if suppose this is a DNA and it has adenosine, it has thymine, it has cytosine, and it has guanine. So this sequence of DNA is going to be transferred into RNA. But how it is going to be transferred? It is going to be transferred by the same nucleic acid. Okay, by the same nucleic acid sequencing. Now suppose here the RNA comes. This RNA, what is going to come here next to A? T is going to come. What is going to come next to T? A is going to come. What is going to come next to C? G is going to come. And what is going to come next to G? C is going to come. So this is how the same DNA sequence is going to be copied by the RNA sequence. Now during transcription, now this process is called as transcription, that is conversion of DNA into RNA. Okay, during transcription, a DNA sequence is read by RNA. What happens during transcription? The DNA sequence is read by RNA. This is a DNA sequence A, T, C, G, that is read by RNA, which produces a complementary antiparallel RNA strand. What does this mean, complementary? I have always told you, I have told you before also, that adenine should always go with thymine. It is going to make complementary strand, not same strand. Now this strand has adenine, thymine, cytosine, guanine. That means the other strand that RNA is going to make is going to be of complementary to the nucleic acid that is present in DNA. What is complementary to adenine? Thymine. What is complementary to thymine? Adenine. Okay, transcription results in RNA complement that includes uracil instead of thymine. So in place of thymine, you are going to have uracil. Okay, as I've told you before, sorry, here thymine is not present, here it is uracil, because RNA does not have thymine, RNA has uracil. Now we saw the first process. What happens in the first process? In the first process, we saw how the DNA is going to make RNA by the process of transcription, and the transcription is going to be for the complementary nucleic acid. That means if there is one strand which is going to have adenine, thymine, cytosine, guanine. That means what is the complementary RNA for this DNA? This complementary RNA for DNA is adenine के place पे here it is going to come uracil, because RNA does not have thymine. In place of thymine, you are going to have adenine. In place of cytosine, you are going to have guanine, and in place of guanine, you are going to have cytosine. Now this is how the process of transcription takes place, that is the formation of RNA from DNA. Now what is the next step? The next step is translation, as we have seen before. Now before I go into this translation, let me tell you that the process of transcription takes place in the nucleus. Now this is the cell. In the cell you have nucleus. Inside the nucleus this transcription takes place. That is, the formation of DNA from RNA takes place inside the nucleus. After this RNA is formed, this RNA that is formed from DNA is called as mRNA. What it is called? It is called mRNA. That is the transcript RNA. The transcript RNA from DNA which is made inside the nucleus is called as mRNA. Now I've told you before, this mRNA is carrying certain type of message. What is that message? That message is UAGC. Okay, so after that message, the mRNA breaks from the nucleus and it comes outside the cytoplasm. Just look here how it is breaking from the nucleus and it is coming into cytoplasm. So that is the way it comes in the cytoplasm. After it comes in the cytoplasm, what is happening? There is a presence of RNA and there is presence of tRNA. Now, can you see here TRP? This here. This is tRNA. Okay. Here tRNA. Here there is amino acid on tRNA. Okay. This is tRNA here. And this is a sequence of amino acid which is present on tRNA. And here this entire structure, can you see here? This entire green structure here is RNA. RNA. This is this entire green structure. So what is happening when this mRNA is coming here? I told you this mRNA comes from the nucleus and it goes into the cytoplasm. So here it is present in the cytoplasm. This pink line you can see, this is entirely mRNA. This mRNA is transcribed from the DNA and is carrying certain type of message. What is this message? This message is A, U, G, U, G, G, U, U, C. This is the message that mRNA is carrying. Now, the three sequence in that message is called as codon, or you can also call it as triplet codon. What is this codon? Codon is the sequence of 3 amino acid. These are amino acid, right? I told you adenosine, thymine, cytosine, guanine, all of these are amino acid. So the sequence of 3 amino acid, that is any 3 amino acid, it can be AUG, CUG, ATC, it can be anything. The sequence of 3 amino acid is called as codon. So this codon is present in mRNA. Now suppose we are taking this codon, that is AUG. This is present in mRNA. Now what will tRNA do? I told you tRNA is going to transfer something. What it is going to transfer? It is going to transfer a new segment on mRNA. Now this is mRNA. Okay, this mRNA, what is this RNA doing? rRNA is holding them together. Can you see this green structure? How it has holded this pink structure here? That means this RNA, rRNA, this ribosome, okay, is going to hold this mRNA and tRNA together. Now can you see this tRNA is going to come here? How it is coming here? Look how this tRNA is coming here. And they are going to form the codon sequence which is opposite to the sequence of mRNA, and this opposite sequence to mRNA is called as anticodon. Okay, this sequence which is opposite to mRNA is called as anticodon. So this tRNA will bring anticodon and the codon on the mRNA will fuse together. Okay, and it will keep on going, keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. That means this ribosome, first when they copy this 3 codon, it will go on next 3 codon, it will go on next 3 codon, it will go on next 3 codon. Similarly, it will keep on going ahead, okay, going ahead on this messenger. And this process of rRNA going along the mRNA is called as translocation. What it is called as? It is called as translocation. What it is called as? It is called as translocation. So everyone understood what is happening here? First, inside the nucleus, you will see the DNA is transcribed into RNA. Which is that RNA? It is mRNA. It is going to carry certain type of message. Now that mRNA comes into the cytoplasm. Where does it go? It goes to the ribosome in the rRNA. This ribosome held the mRNA and the tRNA together. mRNA has 3 sequence of amino acid which is called as codon. And this tRNA comes here. It has the amino acid sequence which is opposite to the codon which is called as anticodon. And similarly, this codon and anticodon fuse together to form protein. Okay, this is how the protein is going to form when the codon and the anticodon fuse together. Who is going to fuse them together? rRNA is going to fuse them together. And similarly, when rRNA keeps on moving ahead and keep on copying all the mRNA, that process is called as translocation. So everyone is clear? The process of transcription, translation, and then you have the process of translocation, and similarly the proteins are made. Okay, so we know what is transcription. We have seen what is translocation. What is translation? Translation is when this codon and anticodon combine together to form protein. Now since this RNA is going to make the protein, that is called as translation. Okay. Now here is just briefly, it is trying to explain you what I just explained you. That can you see how your tRNA is coming? Just look at here how tRNA is coming here. tRNA is carrying the sequence AAG, okay, or any other sequence it is carrying, but it is opposite to the codon. Now this is the codon sequence which is present here. The tRNA is carrying the sequence which is anticodon. Can you see? Opposite of uracil is adenine, sorry. So this sequences that are carrying, that is anticodon. Now after they give the codes here, this tRNA goes out of the picture. And who is holding them together? The ribosomes are holding them together. And this entire strand is the messenger RNA. Okay. DNA replication, transcription and translation, as I've told you before. Okay. See, this DNA is transcribed into RNA. Now this process, as I've told you before, takes place in the nucleus. Then this mRNA comes out in the cytoplasm. What happens is DNA is transcribed into RNA, and after that this comes out in the cytoplasm. And what happens in the cytoplasm? This process of translation takes place, where this RNA is converted into amino acid sequences, or they are converted into protein. Polypeptide of amino acid is called as protein. Okay. Now Now, do you imagine what will happen if in the sequences, if there is any problem in the sequences? As I've told you before, there should not be any problem in the sequences. If there is any problem in the sequences, lot of problem is going to happen. Can you see here? Look at this. This is T for thymine. Here is this amino acid sequence which has thymine. But when this sequence was being copied, there was one point mistake. What was this point mistake? Is that the thymine is replaced by cytosine. Can you see this mistake here? This mistake of the changes in the gene is called as mutation. Now this mutation can be point mutation or it can be long mutation. What is point mutation? When only one point of amino acid is changed, like from thymine to cytosine. But what is long mutation? In long mutation, lot of the amino acid, like this, for example, this entire amino acid, 3 amino acid sequence is changed, or this entire amino acid sequence is changed. Now that is called as long mutation. Point mutation is only one point of amino acid is changed. So here you can see thymine is converted into cytosine. When this mutation takes place, lot of you can say the characteristic of the person can change, or the characteristic of protein can change, and that protein can no longer be synthesized in your body. Just imagine if the protein that is responsible for say digestion in your body is not present because this mutation has taken place. Now imagine a life where you cannot digest food. How difficult that is going to be. So this sequencing of amino acid is very important. Now, what is genetic engineering? Now, we have seen everything, what is DNA, what is RNA. We saw how from DNA, RNA is made. From that RNA, how the proteins are made. The proteins are the building blocks of body. That is why we have to keep on making proteins a lot of time. And we saw what is genetics. It is a study of hereditary. Now, what is this genetic engineering? Just ask yourself question, what is engineering? Engineering is to make something. Okay, to make something. It can be out of anything. Okay, so what is genetic engineering? Genetic engineering is engineering from genes. It is engineering from genes. Now imagine, for example, like you have one plant. Show you here. You have one plant. This plant is short in height, but it produces a lot of flowers. And imagine another plant which is bigger in height, okay, but it produces less flowers. Now what will you do of these two plants? You want the plant, your requirement is that my plant should be bigger in height and it should produce a lot of flowers. So you will try to combine them together. Now I will combine this short plant characteristic of having lot of flowers, and I will pick out the characteristic of this plant which is long height. I will mix them together and I will get a plant which is bigger in height and which produces a lot of flowers. So that is what genetic engineering is. That means we take the gene of the person, okay, which has a lot of good trait, and we put it in another's body of whatever we desire, and we get and we then out of that, and then we mix them together and we get a person whose genes are like what we want. Now the technology is not so ahead currently when I'm teaching you this lecture, that we can make the kind of baby we want. Imagine now if that technology is possible. Now you can make any type of baby you can want. You'll just say that, I want a baby who is very, healthy also, good looking also, smart also, and it should be heighted also, it should play sports also. If suppose you can bring all this characteristic of the genes and put it in a single baby. Now that till date is not possible, but it can be possible in the future. So that is the magic of genetic engineering. If we put a lot of study in this field, we can definitely get such genetically engineered uh, babies also in the future. Now this was the first genetic engineered ship, which is called as Dolly the ship. You should never forget this, because this was the first animal that was genetically engineered. His name was Dolly the fish, or her name was, sorry, Dolly the fish. What happened is, there was a farm. In that farm there was this ship. Can you see here? I'll just label here ship number 1. Okay, this ship had a white color face. Just look at her face, how it is white color. Okay, but it did not produce a lot of fur. Now you know we remove fur from the ship to make clothes for your winter season, right? Now you see here the fur is not present, lot of fur is not present in her body. Now just look at this subject 2. Subject 2, her face is black color, but there's lot of fur present in her body. Can you see? Just look at the amount of fur that is present in her body. Now what will happen if you will take this ship embryo and this ship egg, and if we will mix them together? Say you will what the scientists thought who made this Dolly the ship, they thought that they want a ship who has white color body, like that ship does not have black legs or black face, but it has white body, but it produces a lot of fur. If we can produce such type of ship, okay, it is going to be genetically engineered. So what they did, they took the nucleus from this ship. Okay, this is the mother, this is the original mother of the uh, Dolly the ship. Okay, this is the original mother of Dolly. So you take nucleus, okay, the cell, you remove the nucleus from this cell. What do? You remove the nucleus. Can you see? The nucleus is removed. Now only the cell is present. What we will do of this cell? Now we will take another cell from the foster mother. What is this foster mother or the surrogate mother? Is the mother in whose body you are going to put this cell. So we are going to remove this cell from the other foster mother, and we are going to fuse them together. Just look. This nucleus is removed here from the original mother. This cell and this cell, they are fused together, and you get the cell which nucleus is from the surrogate mother and the cell is from the original mother. And then you allow them to grow. When you allow them to grow, what you will get? You will get embryo. Then this embryo you will put in a foster mother, or you will put in a surrogate mother. This is that mother. Okay, when you put that mother and when you see that the baby is delivered, you will get this amazing genetically engineered ship, in whose body you can see the face and the legs are not black, but look at the fur is exactly like the scientists wanted. So this was the first genetically engineered ship, where the two traits were taken from two mother. Okay, and they were mixed together. Whatever they wanted, they were mixed together, and the child that was born was very amazing. That is the amazing thing about genetic engineering, is whatever composition you want you can easily make. But that kind of technology is still not available presently when I'm teaching you this lecture. Of course the animals have been cloned, the plants are also being cloned. Like there have been tomatoes which are cloned, which can sustain a long time. It can be it can go without getting rotten. So such things are produced. Okay, now to summarize what we have studied today, we have studied about heredity. Then we saw briefly about how the proteins are made, how they are made by the process of translation, transcription. Then the translation is taking place, translocation. By this process we saw that how the proteins are made. These proteins are very important in the human body. Then we saw what genetic engineering is, what Dolly the ship is. Okay, now before I end this lecture, I want you all to study in detail about Mendel. Okay, because there's amazing experiment that he has done. It's not covered in your textbook, but if you will go and see a lot of videos or you will study on the Google also, you will find out there are a lot of study about the Mendel. Okay, thank you so much.